Welcome to the world of Knits Cool. This video will teach you how to knit this super trendy infinity scarf using our new post knitting method. Our Knits Cool studio uses simple vertical posts, so there are no needles to hold. It's easy and fun, and you won't get tangled up in knitting needles ever again. For this project, you will need the Knits Cool studio with all of its components and 20 yards of yarn. We will be using the blue yarn that comes with the studio. First, select your large Knits Cool posts and insert them into the holes in the studio. Make sure you hear them click in. Casting on. To cast on, take your yarn and find the tail end. Make a slip knot. It's like making a knot, but not pulling the tail all the way through. Once you've made your slip knot, insert the loop onto the right post. Tighten the loop until it's snug. Then, twist to make a loop and place it onto the right post. Tighten the loop until it is snug. Now make another loop and place that onto the right post as well. Continue to do this until you have 6 stitches on your post. Make sure your yarn is looped through the yarn holder. This is super important because it keeps your yarn towards the back and helps you make perfect stitches. Knitting rows. Okay, now let's start knitting. Remove the first stitch from the right post and pull the yarn through it. This makes a new loop, and then you just pop it onto the left post. Tighten it up a little by pulling on the yarn. Now take the next stitch from the right post and pull the yarn through it and place it onto the left post again. Now you keep doing this until all the stitches are knit onto the left post and there are no more stitches on the right post. Keep in mind that this row is the most fiddly, as your first stitches are just twisted loops and not fully formed yet. After this, your stitches will be a breeze to knit. Now you have knit one row. Go check your row counter to make sure that the button is set to 1. So now, knit all of these stitches back onto the right post. Now keep in mind, at this point, you're probably thinking, my stitches look wrong and they don't look anything like knitted fabric. But actually, this is the way they're supposed to look. A little messy looking. So don't worry, just keep going. Once your knitting starts to grow, you'll see your work look more and more like a knitted design. You now have knit 2 rows. Now you can click to number 2. Alright, let's continue knitting back and forth until you've reached 30 rows. You can custom design your infinity scarf by knitting less rows. Just keep in mind that the scarf will be sewn together, so you want it to be able to fit over your head. Okay, now that you've finished your 30 rows, your project should look like this. Casting off. Now let's cast off. This is super simple and fun. Knit 2 stitches onto the opposite post. By now you should be a pro at knitting your stitches. Then simply grab the bottom stitch and slip it over the top stitch and let it go. Next, knit another stitch onto the post. Now you have 2 stitches on this post again. Grab the bottom stitch and slip it over the top stitch. Keep doing this until you have only 1 remaining stitch on the post. Now take this 1 stitch with your project off the post completely and thread the tail through the loop. And tighten. You should have a neat finished edge, like this. Finishing your infinity scarf. So let's sew your scarf together. The first thing you are going to do is take your sewing needle that comes to the studio and thread the yarn through it. Next, fold your scarf in half with the end edges facing each other. At this point, you could make a twisted scarf or a regular infinity scarf. Let's do the regular style by lining up the right side edges together. Then with the edges of the scarf together, insert into a few loops on both sides of the scarf. Now don't worry about exactly which loops to sew, as long as you catch some loops on each side and that they're somewhat across from each other. After you've finished sewing the edges together, make sure to tie a knot with the remaining tail, close to the knitted fabric. You can then weave your ends to hide them, or clip with scissors. There you have it. You just made your first infinity scarf.